Once upon a time, in the vibrant village of Uromi, there lived a beautiful young lady named Esosa. She had just finished her studies at the University of Benin and returned to her village with a heart full of dreams and hope. Uromi was a lovely place full of friendly faces, tall palm trees, and neat village houses painted in bright colors. The village had a market square where people sold fresh fruits, vegetables, and handmade crafts. Children ran around playing, and everyone knew each other by name. Esosa was very happy to be back home. She had missed her parents, Chief Osifo and Madam Imade, who were respected in the village. Her father was a wise and kind man, always giving good advice to everyone. Her mother was known for her delicious cooking and caring nature. Welcome home, my daughter. Chief Osifo greeted her daughter with a big smile and a warm hug. Thank you, Papa. It feels so good to be back, Esosa replied, smiling brightly. Her mother also hugged her daughter tightly. We missed you so much, Esosa. Come inside. I made your favorite soup. As the days went by, Esosa started looking for a job. She visited different offices in the nearby towns, hoping to find something that matched her qualification. But every time she came back with no success, she felt a bit more disappointed. Don't worry, my dear. Her father comforted her. Good things take time. The right job will come. Despite her father's reassuring words, Esosa couldn't help feeling impatient. She believed she deserved the best because she was the most beautiful woman in Uromi. Her smooth dark skin, bright eyes, and radiant smile made her stand out among the village girls. Suitors began coming to Chief Osifo's house, asking for Esosa's hand in marriage. There was Osaibovo, a wealthy trader who owned many farmlands, and Ehi, a young farmer who was kind-hearted and hardworking. But Esosa turned them all away. Esosa, Osaibovo is a good man, her best friend Efe said one afternoon while they were sitting under a mango tree. He owns vast farmlands and treats his workers well. Why not give him a chance? Efe, I cannot settle for just anyone, Esosa replied firmly. I am the most beautiful woman in Uromi. Perhaps even in all of Edo State. I deserve the best man, not just any man. Ife sighed. She knew Esosa was determined, but worried that her friend was being too picky. Just think about it, Esosa. Sometimes good men are right in front of us. Esosa's parents also tried to reason with her. My daughter, her mother gently said, a good man is hard to find. Beauty is important, but kindness and love are even more so. Mama, I understand, but I believe I will find someone who is both kind and worthy of me, Esosa replied with confidence. Chief Osifo nodded. We just want you to be happy, Esosa. Remember, true happiness comes from the heart, not just from looks or wealth. Days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months. Still, Esosa remained adamant. She wanted a man who was not only kind and loving, but also wealthy and influential. She believed that such a man would surely come her way. In the meantime, she spent her days helping her mother with household chores, visiting friends, and occasionally going to the market. The villagers admired her beauty and grace, but they also whispered among themselves, wondering when Esosa would find her match. Esosa's return to Rome was filled with hopes and dreams, but it was also marked by her high expectations and unwavering belief that she deserved the best. One fateful evening, Esosa and her best friend Efe decided to attend a party in Benin City. The city was alive with bright lights, busy streets, and the sounds of music and laughter. This was a big change from the peaceful village of Uromi. Esosa felt excited as they walked into the party, hoping this night would bring something new into her life. As soon as they entered, Esosa noticed the difference. The party was full of well-dressed people, talking and dancing. Efe pulled her towards a group of their university friends. "Hey, Esosa, long time no see," shouted one of their friends over the music. "Yes, it's been a while," Esosa replied, smiling. They joined the dance floor, and for a while, Esosa forgot her worries. She felt free and happy, surrounded by friends and the vibrant atmosphere of the city. Suddenly, she felt someone tap her on the shoulder. She turned around to see a well-dressed elderly man smiling at her. "Good evening, my dear. May I have the honor of knowing your name?" he asked politely. Esosa was a bit surprised but smiled back. "Good evening, sir. My name is Esosa." "I am Chief Osa," he said with a charming smile. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Esosa. May I join you for a drink?" "Of course," Esosa replied, intrigued by his confidence and elegant demeanor. As they moved to a quieter corner of the room, Chief Osa continued to talk to her. He was very charming and spoke about his many businesses and travels. Esosa found herself enjoying the conversation more than she expected. "You know, Esosa, you have a very special presence," Chief Egosa said, looking into her eyes. "I can tell you are not just beautiful, but also very intelligent." Esosa blushed. "Thank you, Chief. You are very kind." As the night went on, Chief Eosa continued to shower her with attention and compliments. He also bought her expensive drinks and promised to send gifts to her hometown in Uromi. Esosa felt flattered and excited by his generosity. "Chief, you are a very generous man, but why are you so interested in me?" she asked, curious. "Because, Esosa, I see something special in you. You have a bright future ahead, and I would like to be a part of it," he replied with a warm smile. Esosa's friend Efe noticed how much attention Chief Eosa was giving her and came over. "Esosa, is everything okay?" she asked, a bit concerned. "Yes, Efe, everything is fine. Chief Eosa has been very kind," Esosa reassured her. "All right, just checking," Efe said, still a bit wary but trusting Esosa's judgment. As the party came to an end, Chief Eosa handed Esosa a small box. "This is for you, Esosa, a small token of my appreciation. I hope we can see each other again soon." Esosa opened the box to find a beautiful gold necklace. "Oh, Chief, this is too much. Thank you so much." "You deserve it, my dear. Good night and take care," Chief Ehosa said as he kissed her hand and left. On her way back to Uromi, Efe couldn't help but ask, "Esosa, what do you think about Chief Ehosa?" "He's a very kind and generous man. Efe, I think I like him," Esosa replied, smiling as she looked at the necklace. "Just be careful, Esosa. Sometimes things that seem too good to be true really are," Efe advised. "I know, Efe, but maybe this is the opportunity I have been waiting for," Esosa said, feeling hopeful. Months passed after that fateful party, and Chief Ehosa continued to court Esosa with unwavering dedication. He sent her beautiful gifts, from luxurious fabrics to shining jewelries, and often invited her to dine at the finest restaurants in Benin City. Every visit made Esosa feel more special and cherished. One sunny afternoon, As Esosa was helping her mother in the kitchen, a delivery man arrived with another gift from Chief. It was a stunning dress made from the finest silk. Esosa, this man truly spoils you, her mother said, admiring the dress. Are you sure about him? Mama, he's so kind and generous. I think he truly cares for me, Esosa replied, smiling as she held up the dress. Her father, Chief Osa, entered the kitchen and overheard their conversation. Esosa, generosity is good, but make sure his heart is as pure as his gifts, he cautioned. I understand, Papa, but I really think he's a good man, Esosa reassured her father. Later that evening, Chief called Esosa and invited her for dinner at a luxurious restaurant in Benin City. Excited, Esosa accepted and quickly got ready. She wore the new silk dress, feeling like a princess. When she arrived at the restaurant, Chief Osa was waiting for her, dressed in an elegant suit. He greeted her warmly and led her to a beautifully decorated table with candles and flower. You look stunning, Esosa, Chief Osa said, his eyes sparkling with admiration. Thank you, Chief. You always make me feel special, Esosa replied, blushing. They enjoyed a delicious meal together, laughing and talking about their lives and dreams. As the evening progressed, Esosa felt more and more comfortable with Chief. Esosa, Chief Osa began, taking her hand in his. These past few months have been the happiest of my life. You have brought so much joy to me. You have made me very happy too, Chief, Esosa replied, feeling her heart race. Chief Osa took a deep breath and stood up, gently pulling Esosa to her feet. Esosa, there is something I need to ask you. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Opening it, he revealed a dazzling diamond ring. Esosa gasped, her eyes widening in surprise. Esosa, will you marry me? Chief Osa asked, his voice filled with sincerity and hope. Esosa's heart skipped a beat. She looked into his eyes and saw the kindness and love he had shown her all these months. The thought of marrying such a wealthy and caring man was too tempting to resist. Yes, Chief, I will marry you, Esosa replied, tears of joy streaming down her face. Chief Osa slipped the ring onto her finger and embraced her. You have made me the happiest man in the world, Esosa. They returned to Uromi together, and the news of their engagement spread quickly. The villagers were excited and curious, and preparations for a grand traditional wedding began. The wedding was set to be the biggest event Uromi had ever seen. The day of Esosa and Chief Osa's wedding was the talk of Uromi and even the nearby towns. The village was alive with excitement and everyone was eager to witness the grand celebration. The streets were decorated with colorful banners and the air was filled with the sounds of traditional music and laughter. Esosa woke up early that morning, her heart pounding with excitement and a little bit of nervousness. She was surrounded by her family and friends who helped her prepare for the big day. She wore a beautiful traditional dress made of bright red and gold fabric, adorned with intricate beads and patterns. Esosa, you look like a queen, Efe said, smiling as she adjusted the beads on Esosa's dress. Thank you so much, Efe. I can't believe this day is finally here, Esosa replied, feeling a mix of joy and butterflies in her stomach. Her mother entered the room, her eyes welling up with tears of pride and happiness. My daughter, you look so beautiful. Today is a very special day. Thank you, Mama, Esosa said, hugging her mother tightly. I hope I will make you proud. Chief Osifo came in the same room to see her daughter before the ceremony. Esosa, you have grown into a wonderful woman. Remember to be kind and patient in your marriage. I will, Papa. Thank you for everything, Esosa replied, feeling emotional. As the time for the wedding approached, Esosa was escorted to the venue, a large open space decorated with flowers and traditional symbols. The guests were already gathered, dressed in their finest attire. Chatting and laughing, the drummers and singers created a lively and joyful atmosphere. Chief Osa arrived in a grand procession, accompanied by his family and friends. He wore an elegant traditional outfit, and his face beamed with happiness. As he approached, he saw Esosa and his eyes lit up. Esosa, you look more beautiful than ever, he said, taking her hand. And you look handsome, Chief, Esosa replied, smiling. The ceremony began with blessings and prayers from the village elders. They blessed the couple, wishing them a life filled with love, happiness, and prosperity. Chief Osifo and Madam Imade also gave their blessings, proud of the union. May your marriage be strong and blessed with many happy years, Chief Osifo said, placing his hands on their heads. May you find joy and peace in each other, Madam Imade added, smiling warmly. The couple exchanged their vows, promising to love and support each other through all of life's challenges. They then performed traditional rituals that symbolized their unity and commitment to each other. The villagers cheered and clapped, celebrating the new couple. After the ceremony, the feast began. There were tables filled with delicious food, jollof rice, pounded yam, egusi soup, and more. Guests danced and sang, enjoying the festive atmosphere. Esosa and Chief Osa moved from table to table, greeting their guests and thanking them for their blessings. Esosa, you and Chief Osa make a wonderful couple, one of the village women said, smiling. Thank you so much, Ma. We are very happy, Esosa replied, feeling overwhelmed with gratitude. As the evening turned into night, the celebrations continued. There was a special performance by traditional dancers who entertained the guests with their energetic and graceful moves. The atmosphere was filled with joy and excitement. Esosa, this is the happiest day of my life, Chief Osa said, holding her hand as they watched the dancers. Me too, Chief. I am so grateful for everything, Esosa replied, her heart full of happiness. Despite the joy and excitement, Esosa couldn't help but feel a tiny bit of unease. She remembered her mother's words about being patient and understanding and her father's advice about true happiness. She hoped that her marriage would bring her the happiness she had always dreamed of. As the night drew to a close, the couple prepared to leave for their new home. They bid farewell to their families and friends, promising to visit often. Take care, my daughter, Chief Osifo said, hugging her one last time. Be happy, my child, her mother said, her eyes filled with love. I will, Papa, I will, Mama, Esosa replied. With a final wave, Esosa and Chief Osa left for their new home, ready to start their life together as husband and wife. The road ahead was filled with uncertainty, but Esosa felt hopeful and excited about the future. The wedding festivities were over, and Esosa moved into Chief Osa's grand house in Benin City. The house was enormous, with tall gates, beautiful gardens, and many rooms filled with luxurious furniture. Esosa felt like she was living in a fairy tale. On their first night together, Esosa was excited and nervous. She hoped to start their marriage with love and affection. But as the night progressed, she noticed something strange. Chief Osa seemed distant and uninterested in being intimate. Is something wrong, my husband? Esosa asked gently, trying to hide her worry. It's nothing, Esosa, just business matter, Chief replied, avoiding her gaze. Esosa tried to be understanding, thinking maybe he was just tired. But as days turned into weeks, nothing changed. Chief Ehosa continued to be distant, and their relationship felt cold. One evening, while they were having dinner, Esosa decided to bring up the topic again. Chief, you have been very busy. We hardly spend time together. Chief Ehosa looked up from his meal and sighed. I know, Esosa, my businesses requires a lot of attention. Please be patient with me. Esosa nodded. Though she felt a growing sadness, she confided in Efe during one of her visits. Efe, it's so strange. Chief Osa doesn't seem interested in me as a wife. Maybe he needs more time. Men can be complicated, Efe suggested, though she too was puzzled. Esosa remembered a conversation with her father before the wedding. Chief Osa has been married 3 times before. Chief Osifo had said, 2 wives died and one went mad. Be careful, my daughter. These words now haunted Esosa. She decided to be more observant and cautious around her husband. One day, as Esosa came back from the market, as she was about to enter the house, she noticed that her husband and his friends were in the sitting room. She overheard their conversation. She decided to hide behind the door. She listened as Ehosa spoke with his friends. These sacrifices are never enough. One man said, they keep demanding more. Are you sure you can handle it? Chief Ehosa sighed. I had to sacrifice my manhood for this wealth. Now they want more. And I'm considering using my new wife. Esosa's blood ran cold. She quickly left the door and ran outside. She sat down there crying. She couldn't believe what she had heard. When she entered inside, she tried to act normal, but fear gnawed at her heart. That night, she lay in bed, thinking about what to do. She couldn't stay with a man who might harm her. She had to find a way to escape. The next morning, while preparing breakfast, she overheard Chief on the phone. Yes, tonight we must act quickly. So later that day, when Chief has left the house, Esosa went to visit her friend. Though she felt a sense of relief after overhearing the disturbing conversation, but she knew she had to be careful. When she discussed with her friend told her to just be careful and know when to leave that house because she felt the house wasn't safe for her. She couldn't let Chief know that she was aware of his dark secrets. She decided to go back home and pretend that nothing had happened. As she walked back to the house, her heart pounded with fear and uncertainty. She knew she had to act normal, but it was hard to keep the terror at bay. When she arrived, she took a deep breath and opened the door, forming a fake smile. Welcome back, Esosa, he greeted, looking up from his chair. Hope you enjoyed your outing. Yes, I did. It was lively today, Esosa replied, trying to keep her voice steady. Good. I have some business to attend to tonight, so I might be late, Chief Osa said, standing up and walking towards the door. All right, take care, Esosa said, her heart sinking as she watched him leave. Esosa spent the evening alone. her mind racing with thoughts of what she had heard. She knew she had to find a way to protect herself, but she wasn't sure how. She decided to act normal and gather more information, hoping to find a way out of this dangerous situation. The following morning, Chief Esosa returned home. He seemed in a good mood, but Esosa couldn't shake off her fear. She decided to keep herself busy with household chores, trying to avoid any suspicion. Esosa, you seem quiet today. Is everything alright? Chief Osa asked, noticing her unusual behavior. Yes, everything is fine. Just a bit tired from all the work, Esosa replied, forcing a smile. Take it easy, my dear. We don't want you falling ill, Chief Osa said, patting her shoulder. Esosa nodded, her mind still reeling with the previous day's revelation. She knew she had to be very careful around her husband. She decided to confide in her friend Efe again, hoping she could provide some advice. Esosa waited until Chief Ehosa left the house again for his business meetings. She then quickly called her friend Efe, explaining everything she had overheard and her fears. She asked Efe to meet her secretly at the market square side. The following day, Esosa went to the market as planned. She felt a mixture of fear and hope as she waited for Efe at their usual spot. When Efe arrived, Esosa quickly pulled her aside. Esosa, what is wrong? You look so worried, Efe asked, concerned. Efe, I overheard something terrible. Chief Osa and his friends were talking about sacrifices. He said he might use me. Esosa whispered, her voice shaking. Oh my God. Esosa, what are you going to do? Efe asked, horrified. I don't know, Efe. I have to act normal and find a way to protect myself. Can you help me? Esosa pleaded. Of course, I will help you. You need to be very careful. Don't let him suspect anything, Efe advised, squeezing her hands. Thank you, Efe. I don't know what I would have done without you, Esosa said, feeling a bit more hopeful. Esosa returned home, determined to keep up her art. She knew she had to be vigilant and gather more information about Chief Ehosa. She decided to stay close to him, hoping to find a way to protect herself and escape if necessary. Over the next few days, Esosa tried to act as normal as possible. She cooked meals, cleaned the house, and even tried to engage in conversations with Chief Ehosa. But deep down, she was always on high alert, ready to flee at any sign of danger. One evening, as they sat down for dinner, Chief Ehosa suddenly asked, Esosa, have you heard anything unusual in the house lately? Esosa's heart skipped a beat, but she managed to keep her composure. No, nothing unusual. Why do you ask? Just making sure everything is alright, Chief Eosa replied, his eyes narrowing slightly. Everything is fine, Esosa said, trying to sound as calm as possible. Esosa's days were filled with constant fear and anxiety, but she continued to play the part of a dutiful wife. Always careful not to let Chief Ehosa suspect that she knew his dark secrets. She kept up to her chores, cooked delicious meals, and engaged in light conversation, all while her mind worked tirelessly to find a way out of her dangerous situation. One evening, as she was preparing dinner, Chief Ehosa entered the kitchen. Esosa, I have to leave for a few days for some important business. I'll be back by weekend, he announced, his tone casual. Esosa felt a surge of hope. This could be her chance. All right, my husband. I will take care of everything while you are away, she replied, forcing a smile. That night, after Chief Eosa left, Esosa quickly called her friend Efe, explaining her plan to escape. She would leave the house early in the morning and meet Efe at the market where they could decide on the next steps. Early the following morning, Esosa packed a small bag with some clothes and important documents. She carefully made her way out of the house, her heart pounding with fear and excitement. As she walked through the quiet streets, she prayed for safety and strength. When she reached the market, Efe was already waiting for her. Esosa, over here, Efe called, waving her hand. Efe, thank you for coming. I can't stay in that house any longer. I need to get far away from here, Esosa said, her voice trembling. Don't worry, Esosa. I have a plan. My cousin lives in a town far from here. You can stay with her until we figure out what to do next, Efe replied, trying to reassure her friend. Thank you, Efe. I don't know what I would have done without you, Esosa said, feeling a bit more hopeful. They quickly made their way to the bus station, hoping to catch the easiest bus to the neighboring town. As they waited, Esosa felt a mix of fear and relief. She knew she was taking a huge risk, but she also knew she had no other choice. The bus ride was long and tiring, but Esosa felt a sense of freedom she hadn't felt in months. She gazed out the window, watching the landscape changes as they traveled farther away from Benin City. Ife sat beside her, offering words of encouragement and support. When they finally arrived at the town, Ife's cousin Alero was there to greet them. Welcome, Esosa. You can stay with me as long as you need. My home is your home, Alero said warmly. Thank you, Alero. I am so grateful for your help, Esosa replied, feeling a wave of gratitude. Over the next few days, Esosa settled into Alero's home, trying to adjust to her new surroundings. She stayed in touch with Efe, who kept her updated on any news from Benin City. Despite the distance, Esosa couldn't shake off the fear that Chief Osa might come looking for her. One evening, as they were having dinner, Alero asked, Esosa, what are your plans now? Do you want to stay here permanently? I don't know yet, Alero. I just want to be safe. I need to think about my future and what I want to do next. Esosa replied, her voice thoughtful. You are welcome to stay as long as you need. We will help you in any way we can, Alero said, smiling. Esosa felt a sense of relief and gratitude. She knew she had a long way to go, but with the support of her friends and family, she felt more hopeful about the future. She decided to take things one at a time, focusing on rebuilding her life and finding a way to move forward. Days turned into weeks, and Esosa slowly began to feel more at ease. She started helping Alero with her small business, selling handmade crafts at the local market. It was a simple life, but it gave Esosa a sense of purpose and stability. One day, while they were working at the market, Efe arrived with news. Esosa, I have some important information. Chief Osa has been asking about you. He suspects something, but he doesn't know where you are. Esosa felt a chill run down her spine. What should I do, Efe? I'm scared he might find me. We need to be careful. For now, stay here and keep a low profile. We will figure out a plan to keep you safe, Efe replied, her voice firm. Esosa nodded, feeling the weight of her situation once again. She knew she couldn't let the guard down, but she also knew she had to stay strong. With the support of Efe and Alero, she felt more determined than ever to find a way to escape the shadow of Chief Osa's dark secret and build a new life in safe place for herself. Chief Osa realized something was terribly wrong when he returned home and found the house very quiet. Esosa was nowhere to be found. He called out her name several times, but there was no response. Panic began to creep into his heart. He checked every room, hoping she was just out shopping or visiting friend, but the emptiness of the house told him otherwise. Where could she have gone? Chief Osa muttered to himself, frustration building up. He grabbed his phone and called his trusted friend Osas. Osas, Eseosa, Esosa is missing. I can't find her anywhere. Chief Osa said, trying to keep his voice steady. Calm down, Egosa. Are you sure she's missing? Maybe she is just visiting someone. Osas replied, no, I know something is wrong. She wouldn't leave without telling me. I need to find her. Chief Osa insisted, his voice filled with urgency. Osas sighed. All right, I'll gather some men and we will start looking for her. Don't worry, we will find her. As Chief Osa waited for Osas and his men to arrive, he paced the floor, his mind racing with thoughts of where Esosa could be. He knew he had to act quickly. If she had discovered his secret, she might be trying to expose him. Meanwhile, in the small town where Esosa was hiding, she tried to stay calm and focused. She knew she had to be careful, but the fear of being found was always at the back of her mind. She continued to help Alero with the business, trying to blend in and avoid attracting attention. One evening, they were closing up the market store. Efe arrived with the news. Esosa, we need to talk. Chief Osa has been asking around about you. He's getting desperate. Esosa's heart sank. What should I do, Efe? I'm scared he will find me. We need to come up with a plan. Maybe we can move you to another town, somewhere even further away. Efe suggested. I don't understand. I don't want to keep running forever. There has to be a way to end this, Esosa replied, feeling the weight of her situation. We will think of something. For now, just stay low and avoid any suspicious activity, Efe advised. Back in Benin City, Chief Osa was growing increasingly frustrated. Despite his efforts, there was no sign of Esosa. He decided to take matters into his own hands. Late one night, he entered his secret chamber where he performed his dark rituals. He lit candles and chanted ancient incantations, hoping to use his dark powers to locate Esosa. Spirits, show me where she is, Chief Osa demanded, his voice echoing in the dimly lit room. As he finished his ritual, he felt a strange sensation, as if the spirits were trying to communicate with him. He saw flashes of images, a market, a small town, and then Esosa's face. But the vision was unclear, and he couldn't pinpoint her exact location. Frustrated, Chief Osa decided to take a different approach. He called Osas again. Osas, we need to try something else. I have an idea. Let's spread the word that there is a reward for anyone who can find Esosa. Are you sure that's a good idea, Egosa? It might attract the wrong kind of attention. Osas cautioned. We don't have a choice. I need to find her before she exposes everything. Chief Osa replied, determined. The next day, posters with Esosa's picture and the promise of a substantial reward began appearing all over Benin City and nearby towns. Esosa's heart skipped a beat when she saw one of the posters while walking through the market. Efe, look, he's offering a reward for anyone who finds me, Esosa whispered, showing her the poster. This is bad, Esosa. We need to be extra careful now. Let's go back to Alero's place and think of our next move. Efe said, urgency in her voice. As they hurried back, Esosa felt a growing sense of dread. She knew Chief Osa wouldn't stop until he found her, but she also knew she couldn't keep running forever. She needed to find a way to stop him for good. That night, Esosa, Efe, and Alero sat down to discuss their options. We need to find a way to expose him without putting you in danger, Alero said, her voice calm but firm. Maybe we can gather evidence and send it to the authorities anonymously, Efe suggested. That's a good idea, but how do we get the evidence? Esosa asked, her mind racing. We will need to be smart about it. Maybe we can find someone who used to work with him, someone who knows his secrets, Alero said, thinking aloud. We have to try. I can't live in fear anymore, Esosa said, determination in her voice. Over the next few days, they began their plan. They reached out to people who might have connections to Chief Osa, hoping to find someone willing to help them. It was a risky move, but they knew it was their best chance. As they worked on their plan, Chief Osa grew more desperate. He intensified his search, but his efforts only made him more reckless. His dark deeds began to catch up with him, and whispers of his sinister activities started to spread. One evening, as Esosa and her friends were finalizing their plan, they received unexpected news. Esosa has been spotted by someone in town, and Chief Osa had been informed. The fear that had been lingering at the back of Esosa's mind now became a terrifying reality. Esosa, you need to leave immediately. Chief Osa knows you are here, Ife said urgently. But where will I go? You will find me wherever I run, Esosa replied, panic in her voice. We will think of something. For now, we have to get you out of here, Alero insisted. Before they could act, there was a sudden knock on the door. The three women froze. Esosa's heart raced as Alero cautiously opened the door. Standing there was one of Chief Osa's men. Where is she? The man demanded. Who? Alero asked, trying to play innocent. You know who. Chief Osa wants her back. Now, the man replied. Esosa knew she couldn't escape now. She had to face whatever was coming. I'm here, she said, stepping forward. The man grabbed her roughly and dragged her outside. Efe and Alero watched helplessly, knowing there was nothing they could do at that moment. Back at Chief Osa's house, Esosa was thrown into a room and the door was locked behind her. She felt a sense of dread wash over her. Moments later, Chief Osa entered, his face twisted with anger. You thought you could escape me? He sneered. You think you can expose me and get away with it? Please, Osa, let me go. I won't tell anyone, I promise. Esosa pleaded, tears streaming down her face. It's too late for that, Esosa. You already know too much, Chief Osa said, his voice cold. He began chanting dark incantations, and Esosa felt a strange sensation taking over her mind. She tried to fight it, but her vision blurred and her thoughts became confused. Chief Osa was using his dark powers to drive her mad. Stop! Please stop! Esosa screamed, but her pleas fell on deaf ears. By the time Chief Osa finished his ritual, Esosa was a shadow of her former self. She wandered the streets of Benin City, her mind lost in madness. People stared at her, whispering and pointing, but no one dared to approach. Back in Uromi, her family was devastated when they heard the news. Chief Osa called Madam Imade and told her that Esosa was missing. We need to find her. Osifo, she is our daughter, Madam Imade said, tears streaming down her face. We will, Imade. We will bring her home, Chief Osifo replied, his heart heavy with sorrow. After many months of wandering the streets, A kind-hearted woman from Uromi recognized Esosa and informed her family. They rushed to Benin City and found her in a terrible state. "We need to take her to the hospital," Chief Osifo said, tears in his eyes. After Esosa was brought back to Uromi, her family dedicated themselves to her recovery. Each day, Chief Osifo and Madam Imade stayed by her side, praying and hoping for a miracle. The village pastor visited daily to pray and offer support. One afternoon, while sitting by her side, her father gently held Esosa's hand. "Esosa, my dear, we are here for you. You will get through this," he said softly, his eyes filled with tears. Her mother nodded, her voice trembling. "We love you, Esosa. God is with you, and you will be well again." Days turned into weeks, and slowly, Esosa began to show signs of improvement. She started to recognize her family and respond to their voices. The first time she spoke, it was a barely audible whisper. "Mama, Papa," Esosa said, her voice shaky but filled with emotion. Her mother burst into tears, hugging her daughter tightly. "Oh, Esosa, thank God, you are coming back to us," she cried. Chief Osifo placed a hand on his wife's shoulder, his own eyes glistening with tears. "Yes, my daughter, we never lost faith." The villagers were overjoyed to see Esosa's progress. They gathered around the family, offering support and prayers. One day, while sitting outside with her parents, Esosa spoke more clearly. "Papa, I I remember everything," Esosa said, her voice still weak but determined. Chief Osifo looked at her with concern. "Take your time, my dear. We are here to listen." Esosa took a deep breath. "Chief Egosa, he used dark powers. He tried to make me mad because I knew his secret." Madam Imade gasped, covering her mouth with her hand. "We were so worried about you, Esosa, but you are safe now. We will make sure he cannot hurt you or anyone else again." Chief Osifo said, "We will seek justice for what he did." As Esosa continued to recover, she felt a growing strength within her, surrounded by her family, loved ones, and the support of the villagers. She knew she could overcome the darkness that had clouded her life. She was determined to reclaim her life and ensure that Chief Egosa's evil deeds were brought to light. As Esosa's strength returned, so did her determination to bring Chief Egosa to justice. With her family's unwavering support, they gathered all the evidence they could against him. The village elders also pitched in, determined to see justice served for their beloved Esosa. One bright morning, Chief Osifo and Madam Imade accompanied Esosa to the police station in Benin City. They were met by a sympathetic officer who listened attentively to their story. "We have evidence against Chief Egosa," Chief Osifo said, handing over documents and testimonies they had collected. "He has committed terrible crimes and he must be stopped." The officer nodded, examining the documents. "Thank you for bringing this to our attention. We will investigate thoroughly and ensure that justice is served." A few days later, the police launched a raid on Chief Osa's house. They found numerous incriminating items, including tools for his dark rituals and evidence of his previous wife's mysterious deaths. Chief Osa was arrested and brought to trial. The trial was a significant event in Benin City, drawing attention from all over Edo State. People were eager to see justice served. Esosa bravely took stand, recounting her harrowing experience. "Chief Eosa used dark powers to harm me and others. He made me mad because I knew his secret. She testified, her voice strong and clear. The courtroom was silent, everyone hanging on her every word. The evidence against Chief Osa was overwhelming. Witnesses came forward, corroborating Esosa's story and revealing even more of his sinister deeds. After days of deliberation, the judge finally delivered the verdict. Chief Osa, you are found guilty of multiple counts of murder, attempted murder, and the use of dark rituals. You are hereby sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. The courtroom erupted in applause. Esosa felt a wave of relief wash over her. Justice has been served. Back in Uromi, the village celebrated the news. The dark shadow that had loomed over them was finally lifted. Esosa's family and friends gathered around her, offering their congratulations and support. You were so brave, Esosa, Efe said, hugging her friend tightly. I'm so proud of you. Thank you, Efe. I couldn't have done it without you and the support of everyone here, Esosa replied, her eyes filled with gratitude. Her father placed a hand on his daughter's shoulder. You have shown great strength, Esosa. We are all so proud of you. Her mother smiled, tears of joy in her eyes. You have overcome so much, my dear. Now it's time for a new beginning. Esosa nodded, feeling a sense of peace she hadn't felt in a long time. She knew that Chief Osa was behind bars, unable to harm anyone else. His power had been broken and justice had prevailed. Years passed and Esosa continued to rebuild her life. She became an advocate for women who had suffered similar fates, sharing her story to inspire others. She found happiness and purpose in helping others find their strength and voice. One day, Esosa received news that Chief Osa had died in prison. She felt a sense of closure, knowing that he could never hurt anyone again. As she stood by the river in Uromi, watching the sunset, Esosa felt a deep sense of gratitude. She had faced darkness and emerged stronger, surrounded by the love and support of her family and community. She knew that her story was one of resilience and hope, and she was determined to live each day to the fullest, cherishing the simple, beautiful moments that life had offered. Esosa, her father called, walking towards her. It's time for dinner, let's go home. Esosa turned to her father, smiling. Yes, Papa, let's go home. The story of Esosa teaches us about the dangers of greed and desperation. Esosa's desire for wealth led her to marry a man with dark secrets, resulting in her suffering and loss of sanity. Greed can blind us to true happiness and put us in harm's way. Desperation, as seen in Chief Osa's action, can lead to destructive and immoral choices. The story reminds us to value integrity, love, and the simple joys of life over material wealth, and to always be cautious of the consequences of our decisions. And with that, my dear friends, our story comes to a close. But remember, the magic of storytelling lives on, waiting to whisk us away on new adventures where the wonders of imagination know no bounds. Goodbye for now, and may your dreams be filled with joy, wonder, and endless possibility. Thank you so much for watching. Please kindly comment, like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting stories.